And we are back. Hello, everyone out there in audience land, and to my refreshed players. Where we had left off is there is a crushed and dying. Now the illustration is showing kind of a lizardy, folky type person. Though you know what? For finding an asset that looks like a crushed thing in a cave, I think I did pretty well for something on the fly. And so we have a Fey converted person who's not the size of Jack large. This is large just for the sake of illustrating this fancy asset that I found. So it is, I can't even say normal person size because we do have a gnome amongst us, and that would be offensive. We have a
medium-sized.
We have a medium-sized creature who is unconscious and stable, though very, very much crushed. Just parts of the body at this point in time wouldn't be usable unless you were pouring a ton of attention, magical attention into it.
No, I'm pouring just enough attention to keep it alive.
Okay, it is on magical life support in that case. Then it is probably mercifully unconscious. And what would you like to do with your luggage?
Well, restrain it first, I think.
Might be smart.
And you'll have to use special knots because of all the extra legs when you tie it up.
If you want to. Selene, you still have a former net now lead around you. You can.
Yeah, I'll use that.
All right. Well, Mordecai, you lost your
kind
leash.
of tiny. Yeah, kind of tiny.
I think we do have actual rope.
Yeah, we do have actual rope, so I'll add some of that in too,
Any
as
adventure party
required.
can use actual rope.
Yeah.
I'll
All
add
right.
that in as required.
I hate to
make
be a
it
spoil
impromptu
sport,
instead of
but
restraints.
actual rope would probably be the right choice.
That's fine. I mean, it's just one of those parties, I guess. you successfully restrained the unconscious enemy.
Well, I suppose it's time to wake it up then.
How do you propose we do that?
What I will do.
Can magic not really wake it up right now?
I'll give it another first level cure wounds with the intent of waking it up.
Sure. Make another spell, just like a wisdom check.
Wisdom check? Yep.
Yeah.
Wisdom.
Okay. So yeah, you lay your hands upon this insectoid creature, and the holy energy of Weejas is certainly finds a receptacle in a dying creature, and begins to rouse its consciousness, as its eyes don't necessarily flitter open because they're insectoid, like compound eyes, but it does twitch a little bit, and it seems to be regarding you all, moving its head around some, and it's moving. It's alive!
So, who's interrogating it?
Bright. She's gonna be the only one who can actually talk to it.
Well, I'm not the only one who can wear the hat. Also, they spoke a language we understood in the last cave. We were able
Which
to talk
language
to
was
them.
that?
I think they spoke common.
They were people, yeah.
Gonna try that?
I'll see if this one's a person.
All right, who's stepping forward then? This thing's looking around.
Who are you?
Regarding you. You're not Fey.
No, I'm not.
Looks to Jacob. Repeats. Bright, the eyes linger on you. Not fully, Faye.
Yeah, kinda half and half.
Casimir.
But I like it this way.
You're closer.
Well, hello there. I hope that you ended up managing to end up... Oh god. Slipping accents, can't do it. Let's double check. I do hope that you ended up managing to find yourself healed, at the very least. But no, I am not Faye, I have no sprouty wings or anything like that.
My pain is manageable. Jacob, will you make a,
Yes.
You can make an investigation at advantage as this thing is talking. Nice, 25. This person is, while there is a different buzz to the voice, it's speaking differently because the body has also been changed. The way that it's speaking is, you're getting like a Green Shield accent from this person, like someone who's lived in Green Shield, with the way that they, you know, this is someone that wouldn't say pillow, they'd say pillow with an E.
Hello.
Maybe they'd say water instead of water.
Water.
But you're getting
Whoa.
some slight Green Shield tonnage or pronunciation.
So Green Shield is in southern Illinois. It's good to know that.
How did you know?
It cranes its neck around to you, Selene. You are Faye. Did these escape you from conversion?
I suggest you start talking.
I am talking.
The questions.
We haven't actually asked any questions yet, so we don't need to threaten it yet.
I asked it who it is.
But we know now. It's a person. It's someone who used to be a person and they've been transformed.
I am Faye.
Transformed into Fae, but yes.
Selene, do you think you might be able to change it back with the remove curse? Did we try that on anyone in the first cave?
No, I don't. Well, if it had been tried, I don't know. Maybe I could roll a wisdom check to see if that would be something that remove curse might be able to do.
Or
an arcana?
Wisdom check. Why don't we go with Arcana?
Rolling arcana.
What? Ooh, 23. Remove curse. Most likely in a traditional cast of it will not, as this is what this person has become. The Fae, as you identified through Norlai, have a transmutation to them, but it's not like wearing a transmutation clothing.
It's
per this
more
temporary
more
spell.
like a polymorph than it is an actual. It's more like a polymorph than it is a curse.
They've
Like
this
a
is
permanent
this
polymorph.
person now. Biologically, this is this person's true form. It has been altered, not just temporarily by magic, but this is what they have become. So they are not.
Yeah.
If there's a
Remove curse
curse,
point
then
fix.
I mean it would remove a curse, but their existence is not a magical curse. That's just making them stub their toes on bedposts and stuff.
like magical. It's like vampirism at this point. Permanent.
It is, yeah, it is who they are.
Yeah, no, I don't have a way of fixing this.
That's too bad.
And even if I did, they probably wouldn't be in any condition to keep going afterwards. So then, do you know where we are?
Yes.
Care to share?
Looks around. Yes, we are still in Orlans' home.
Orlan's home.
Why don't you know this?
So we are in the Feywild. At least, that's an assumption to make considering it's Fey.
It leans forward a bit. Why are you like those fomorians? And it's one arm that tried to like snatch up Bright because it's its only like functional arm. Like goes forward and is pointing to your vestments.
Because those fomorians were a direct result of a blunder that I had made. Inadvertently.
But what she means is that the Fomorians, they used to
were
be
like
humans,
me.
and they were part of the same organization, and then they turned into Fomorians and attacked you. We didn't know that was going to happen.
You can convert them. Help us.
If I can find them, I might be able to fix. But
We must save Orlans.
you know, considering what he tried to do to me, I'm not in any quick rush to do that. So I think you should be. I think you should give me some incentive.
It tries to stand, but it only has the one kind of functional leg, and it just boop, slips out from under it on the slick rock, and it splooshes back down in the.
Also, it's tied up.
Oh well, that's. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. So, all right, so it still attempts, but it just kind of.
Yeah.
Why should
Why
we,
should we save Orlans?
It's looking at you, Selene, just even with its compound, unblinking eyes, just like, what do you mean?
Doesn't understand. And why would it? 'Cause,
Of course it wouldn't.
see, it thinks you're Fae, so it thinks you're naturally going to be on their side.
Think of it this
But that's
way.
not really true. We're free agents.
I am not Fey.
You've
I-
escaped conversion.
You could put it in a word.
Escapees. There. Selene, Jack kind of plops out of you and unfurls in his blue fox form.
I was wondering when you were going to show up.
And the other thing regards it. Looks back up at you, Selene. Back down. My master, I'm sorry. I couldn't stop them. Too powerful. And Jack is sitting there.
Does Jack respond to that?
No, Jack is sitting and simply regarding this decrepit fey insectoid, not really speaking anything, is up where the cave wall's starting to get out of the water, so he's a little bit wet. But he's simply watching this thing as it has gone into a bit of an apologetic grovel. Also, real quick shout out to Fiaria the Tank Girl. Thank you very much for the raid of 14 people. Y'all are welcome. Make yourselves comfortable as we're having our own little roleplay going on here. And hashtag salmon cannon. What's the story behind that? But go ahead.
Selene slow turns to Jack. She's like, it's calling you master, is it?
Yes.
He's Orlan's representative. The captive is talking to Orlans through Jack.
Jack looks to you, Bright. Yes.
Right. So then,
Does Orlans know we're coming? Jack?
Closes blue foxy eyes here. Seems to concentrate for a minute. I can't feel Orlans right now. I presume as much. My connection with him has been difficult. No part in kind of motions towards the Fomorian and then back to Selene. This one carrying around one of those cursed eyes. But I'm not sure these things, I don't know why we're chasing after them, but they're after Orlans, I'm sure of it. I'm sorry, I can't tell you if Orlans is still here or not.
Where else could he have gone?
This is his home, and he's not here.
I might have manifested elsewhere if Orlans could have escaped. Or the Fomorians might have gotten ahead and...
already gone.
Well, look, you know there's bad blood between the Fae and the Fomorians. It's just...
I wonder why.
Don't be a smart
So
ass,
then-
Selene. Jack is kind of puffs a little bit.
Selene just kind of leans down. It's like, so then, my green buggy friend, we aren't Fae.
You are
So
Fae.
what you're going to do right now? Tell us everything you know. Trust me when I tell you that you're really not in a position to be bargained.
Looks around. The average gnome intestine is the same length as that of a human's.
I mean about this place, about your master, and about the Fomorian.
I do not know. I woke from the crystal with the purpose of stopping the Fomorians. I
So they,
only know
He's
this.
panic release soldiers.
yeah. So the Fae, they can keep their converts on ice until they need them,
Until
and then they
required.
release them. Yeah.
Many others as well have also been crushed by the Fomorians.
The last thing that anyone wants is a war on our plains, so
I
Come
can only
invading
hope the Fatorian Guard will protect Orlans if they've reached that far.
Did you say Fatorian Guard?
Yes.
Just making sure. I'm remembering that.
Does that mean something?
It's a joke. A pretty good one. So,
Doesn't
We-
seem like this guy knows a whole lot.
oh, I think he knows quite a bit. We just aren't asking the right questions. I mean, it's a foot soldier, but he's being very cooperative. We really appreciate how cooperative you've been. By the way, that's very nice of you. Are you hoping that if you tell us enough things that will help you save Orlans?
I am telling you things as I am told to tell you things.
Told you to tell us those things.
Looks over at Jack.
What I thought. Well, everything's making sense. So, we might actually have to help them save Orlans, you know?
Is that what we're doing? Are
No.
we saving the Fae?
I don't know. I mean, we came in here just to find answers, and now we're finding answers. I think we'll have to see what kind of shape they're in. Because,
So we don't want
If they're-
fomorians, and we don't want Fae either stalking
Well-
around in our home plane.
You may be
Thing is-
given a gift by Orlans if you save him. If you don't
Yeah.
seek the blessing of conversion, perhaps Orlans can offer you a pact.
yeah, that's the sort of
Yeah.
thing he likes to do.
We are all Fae for Orlans.
So many jokes.
So then, Jack, what is actually the significant save? Please pitch it to us. Why should we care?
Personally, I'm having quite a difficult time with it myself. As I've ended up seeing it, they've done nothing but end up causing destruction and strife since they ended up arriving. And they've ended up trying to undo what little progress we've managed to end up making, and wish to end up invading our own kingdoms. Taking our
Kidnapping
people, converting them into their own. There is no excuse for it at this point. This is open war. Why would we ever be obligated to end up aiding such a people who are only here to invade and to forcibly change every single soul that is involved?
Exactly.
Your voice. The creature turns its head to you, Jacob, as you're giving your earnest speech here. You are Stillwaters from Green Shield. Yes?
He's tempting you, Jacob. Don't listen to him.
Much like I didn't listen to you. Yes, that is exactly who I am.
Remembers its human life.
I was and it has its good hand and it's bringing it up to its converted face. Fareway.
Fareway.
And Jacob, this in thinking about this, I don't need a roll because I mean you've spent your whole life and career in Green Shield here. One of the big general stores that supplied various goods in Greenway was owned by the Fairway family, and it's not like you knew everyone who's in this family because it's a large prominent family that ran a successful business. But if this person is saying that they are one of the Fairways, then this would be...
No, do not get it confused. They said they were. They are no longer, by their own admission.
I am Faye.
You are the remains of a murdered... a husk that continues to end up speaking. Thus far, what you have done is stolen a prominent member of my own community.
I mean, it's staring at you.
Your confession is tantamount to admitting murder.
I follow orders from Orlans. And
Not murder when
once
it's a
more-
war.
It is exactly what it is.
Hey,
It is murder.
Slavery at the very least.
No,
Stillwaters.
the person is gone.
Is there still that good gnome restaurant in Green Shield?
Last we were there was. This creature isn't a murderer. It's a soldier. It's not the same thing.
It
I
is.
follow orders. It's still tied up in that and decrepit. If it can't grip its face, it's still kind of like, I don't know, dips its head and winces. And so much this thing can.
There is no justice to be served here.
I agree on that.
Jack looks up to you, Jacob. This thing is useless to our lawns as it is. You can put it down if you wish. Or, and Jack will look to you, Selene. If you wish to spare the resources, you could save it. But realize that this is a loyal soldier to our lawns now.
As are you.
Yes?
Selene is like, no.
Oh. Alright. Is anyone wishing to...
Selene, why would
Jacob, do you want to
why would you
interpose
do
your
that?
shield or try and distract the attack, or...
I'll step in the way. God damn it.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob. That's not what I'm good for.
Alright. So, Jacob, Selene, mechanically there's numbers on the screen, though, you have your blade, ruptures forth, from this otherwise just, this plain hilt, and you step up to swing down and strike. Jacob is interposing himself between you, holding his shield up. Again, I know we have numbers on the board here, but are you wishing to pull back your strike, or is this going to be a follow-through strike?
No, I'll switch off the blade mid-swing so that
Okay.
Jacob doesn't get hurt. And Selene just sighs, and she looks over at him and is like, "It's easier to put him down than it is to try and save him, especially if we want to survive. I don't think I have enough magic left in me to cure him."
At this current state, are they a threat, yes or no?
No. Thing is, though, would you leave this creature to suffer in pain as it slowly dies, or would you put it out of its misery?
We should bring him with. Toss him on the back of Jasper. Maybe we can take him to others of his own kind. He's hurt so badly he won't fight in this war for at least a month. By that time, it'll all be over.
Justification for taking life. It's as disposable to you as we are to it.
Not at all.
That's exactly what you just demonstrated. Every time you speak, Selene, it has nothing. It is words, 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 but every time you act, it is in direct point of showing complete disregard.
So you would let this creature suffer in pain?
Life is
what
suffering.
Yes. Yes, it is. And it is
And
my
I
job.
value life.
Yes, you may. But
Oh,
what
like
do
it
you
was your
believe?
decision. I may, by your permission, by your grandiose, from on high decree, I am given permission to do so.
You
I
are
simply-
resources. Precious resources.
If it thinks of us as only food, or means by which to build their own people, like the
We are a
vampires
mean-
to me.
we are a means to its end, Jacob.
I don't condone this.
If I were to end up following that example, then every time I end up seeing a child end up taking a piece of celery from the market and stuff it into their pocket, I should end up considering them put to death. Is the line of thinking you are starting to approach?
That is an extreme line of thinking.
That is
bringing
where it
hyperbole.
begins.
You are bringing hyperbole into a situation that needs none.
Kill or be killed. That's the law. Who decided that?
Really? No, it is not a matter of kill or be killed, but it is simply in the good conscience of those who
You
live
have no
apart
conscience,
those
Selene.
from suffering.
You have never once demonstrated the capability of conscience.
Mordecai,
Yours
you
is-
see Jack is still sitting there and is, as Selene and Jacob are having this robust conversation, we'll put it. Jack is looking up at each of them, and he's still in his blue fox form here, as they are retorting back and forth, and seems to be very attentive to the points they're making.
And you think that you do?
Maddie,
Or
can I
simply
quickly
another-
insight check Jack? Sorry.
Can you do a what?
Insight check Jack. I wanna
Sure, go ahead.
know why he's listening so intently.
Yeah. Well, as it was brought up, Jack, well, he was indicated as being a soldier of Orlans, which is technically true.
Yeah, we know that Jack is much more than a soldier now.
But Jack
He's
was
more an envoy.
Jack, yeah, is an envoy and was, for lack of a better term, implanted into Selene by way of a very deep dragon kiss. In order,
Dragon moment.
because Selene had sassed Orlans and given him and given Orlans a just kind of a just wait and see what we can do. and Orlans was amused enough that someone actually had the cojones to step up and took her up on the offer, and so Jack was a passenger in Selene to observe, and on behalf of Orlans, watch and listen, and if not report, perhaps judge. He's following this conversation because he's listening to what you all as non-Fae are discussing, and is contemplating your stances.
But no, Selene at Jacob's little outburst she just bursts into laughter, and she leans forward and she's just like, "You think that you do, huh? You think that you have a conscience? You have shown nothing of the sort. In fact, you have shown absolutely to the contrary, that you are nothing but an unthinking, unfeeling machine that only follows what the law says."
It's not true at all. Jacob, he
Really,
knows.
it's not. Really, it's
No, it's not.
It's not true.
He follows the law because he believes it, but he also knows mercy and compassion, and he even knows when he needs to make a compromise to get things done for the greater good. Isn't that right, Jacob?
Greater good.
And to extinguish suffering is not for the greater good.
Yours is the peace of the grave. That's your teachings.
Yes, peace of the grave, but it is peace.
Not everyone shares that opinion.
No, not everyone shares that opinion. In fact, over the past little while, there have been things that have been popping up that have made the grave not so peaceful. Oh, we have prime example number one right over there. And she gestures to Mordecai. It's like, but, and here's the operator here. We are struck with 3 different scenarios. First one is I end this poor soul's life and maybe it might find peace beyond the veil, and we walk on and it's done. I said might. Option 2, we take it with us. We place it at the feet of whoever may be left down here. Because the Lord knows the fomorians are going to show discretion if they actually attack down here. In their seething hatred. Or option 3, we leave it here to suffer until such time as its coil finally gives out and it shuffles it off.
I
And
cannot
in those
fulfill my function as I am.
So it suffers in futility until it passes. Because I do not have the resources to save it, and I doubt, with the Fae under attack as they are, that they have the resources to save him either.
Don't know that. It doesn't hurt us to bring him with us for a while.
It's an easy enough assumption to make, considering that he was pulled off ice specifically to stop the fomorians. That tells me one thing and one thing only. Orlans is running scared. He's
That's
trying
true.
to put as many bodies between the fomorians and him as possible. Which may or may not include us, considering Orlans really only considers us to an end. We're simply pawns in his little game.
Yeah,
And I mean,
don't think we
there are
are.
many there are many things that I could say about being pawns in a game involving forces much bigger than ourselves.
We're not pawns, we're free agents. We came down here because we wanted answers, and we wanted to know what the
That's-
outcome of the thing that you unleashed by accident is.
That's not the scale on which I'm talking. I'm talking much, much, much bigger than that. We're free agents because we've been given the freedom to do the things we do. You know, being transformed into a mutated wretch and being forcibly shunted out of the material plane and back into the material plane several hundred times kind of gives you a little bit of insight into the way that things actually work. Trust me when I tell you that what awaits on the other side of the veil is remarkably unpleasant. If, how we say, unfathomable. Aside from the fact that it's unpleasant. So please, make all of the gesturing and postulating you want as to whether keeping this thing alive or not is a good idea. In any case, it suffers. And it shouldn't have to. And for someone to willingly prolong that suffering. You're so quick to call me a monster, but who's the monster now? Make the decision that you want. I am uncaring at this point. And she turns and begins moving just a little bit further down the corridor, see if she can scout out a little bit of the route ahead.
So Selene is disengaging from the conversation. Do any of you have any verbal attacks of opportunity against her, or are you going to...
I mean, I could, but I won't.
Okay. So then she's going to saunter off to continue scouting ahead further down into this area. You have a bound, still crushed and debilitated Fey prisoner. What would you like to do with it, as you have been left with it?
I think we should strap him onto Jasper, bring him with, and if we can return him to his own people, then we can do that. And if we can't return him to his own people, well, we tried. Isn't it ironic that the person that Orlans chose to be his point of observation is the one that would want to prove him right all along?
Well, I mean, the entire thing is that she doesn't.
You walked away.
Hold on.
You walked away.
No, that's just out of character.
Oh.
Well, mine wasn't.
Yeah, we're still in character, and I want to see if there's any in-character reactions to Bright's observance. Jack is still staying behind next to this bound creature, and Mordecai
Can
was
you two-
proposed that it go on Jasper's back. Are you wanting to allow for this?
Will you two load him on too small?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
I can see both
Having
points, but conflicted.
Okay, Mordecai, make a medicine check to see if you can end up manipulating this body in such a way that you're not going to compound its aches and okay, yeah, you're carefully able to adjust some things, maybe reinforce some areas that are broken otherwise, and you manage to strap it onto the back of Jasper.
Jacob, were you going to say something?
Jacob or Casimir?
I haven't got any notes from Casimir yet, so.
Okay.
Jacob at this point is gripping his warhammer, very white-knuckled. He's thinking about what Selene said. She called him a monster. And the mettle of a good man is not his lack of temptation, but how he responds to it. He starts mulling it over. There's a brief moment in his head when he starts thinking about taking every teaching she wants on display. And he thinks on what kind of a monster he can become. What would it turn into? A tyrant? A blood-sick marauder? A sadist? Maybe even for the briefest of moments he wants to swing that warhammer into this thing's face. Over and over again to feel the impact along his arm and just think of reducing it to pulp. So she get away. But that's not him. It is how you stand to temptation. Not in saying you are not tempted, but in choosing to walk away from it. But there is one point that still stands. The type of peace Selene reveres is that of the grave. Anything and everything suffers when it's alive. She would have us all dead. Call it peace. She would argue the point over and over again, but when actions come to it, she will grab that fiery sword and strike a person down. The frustration doesn't come from how different they are. Quite the contrary. It's the similarities that bother Jacob.
Very well. Then what we're going to do is, at this moment, where Selene has gone off ahead and is looking around, we have a decrepit prisoner. In fact, the word wretched has been used several times. So Mordecai, you're over at Jasper tying this creature, person, something that is being determined in the party's philosophy. Jack, after this, after Jacob, Jacob, was this inner monologue, or is this something you're externalizing as you're thinking as well?
Visually, he's frustrated.
Okay.
There is the need to hit something, the need to lash out, the need to fall away from discipline.
Okay.
And trying not to allow that to be the case, to be the good soldier, to be the good investigator, to be the watchful eye and the protector of men.
Do you see yourself in this soldier, by the way? That's all tied up and smashed and dutiful?
No.
Okay.
That's not duty. That is not loyalty. Loyalty is a choice. Honor is a choice. This isn't a choice. This is an automaton. And it's killed someone who had choice by its very birth. Selene and Bright might say that this is no murder. But a person is gone now. And The corpse is currently still walking, still bleeding. But who that person is gone. Ultimately, whether there's a body and the living has stopped, or it has turned into this, the results are the same. The exact same, as though a murder. This is worse, because now the corpse parades itself. To kill, to kidnap, to produce more. It's sickening.
Very well. And Bright, where are we going to leave you as we are tying things up then, before we end things and Lethality's got to go to the Gathering of Nerds?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just here. I'm glad that, regardless of if everyone buys in, I'm glad that we're getting the chance to save this poor soldier. I mean, Jacob's right. I mean, well, I guess Jacob didn't say that, so Bright doesn't know. But if Bright knew what Jacob said, she would say that he's right, because this is the thing that killed him. But that doesn't matter now, because it didn't kill that fairway man because it wanted to. It killed that fairway man when it came into existence, just like a child whose mother dies in childbirth. It's not the fault of the child. You don't blame the child. And now it's just a soldier. That's not a murderer. That's just what he is. And if we can get him back to his people, that one small mercy might be seen as a meaningful act by Orlans. I don't know. I can't really hide that I definitely have a little more Fey-leaning tilt than to the vampires. And possibly that's just me being me. But possibly I think it's because they seem, I don't know, they seem a little easier to reason with. The vampires that we've met, except for Mordecai, and Mordecai has been with us ever since he turned. We haven't had a lot of luck reasoning with them or talking to them or negotiating with them, and the Fae, they love to talk and negotiate. And I just feel like our best chances are at a peace or with them. That's all. I'm done.
Then we will conclude with these interesting quandaries that have been brought up in a case of perhaps the doings of a curious gnome looking for a clue or a scrap or something on the Fomorian has led to quite an interesting conundrum and a philosophical battle in the party while they're going through this very high tension area. And I guess next week we'll find out more about how this is going to manifest and what will have happen. Before we end the session, truly then, Lethality, you're going over to the Gathering of Nerds and you're going to be up in about an hour. What is tonight's level and theme for your one-shot on your channel?
The level is 14, and the prompt is necromancy.
Ah.
Ooh. Selene's forte.
Are you running this one? Yeah.
No, somebody else is. And
Okay.
And are you playing Selene in this one?
I thought about it, but no, I'm playing a warlock. I'm playing someone very, very interesting.
Okay. Well, then
I'll have to practice my 1920s radio announcer voice.
just let us know when you go live and we'll raid you. After we finish up, then I think we'll take a break and come back and hey, maybe we could play some Jackbox games, a couple party games until we see you go live. We'll come over and give you a raid and,
sounds good.
shore things up from there. So, all right, excellent game, everyone. Thank you very much for the for the fun, the laughs, the puns, and
The
then we after all the fun kind of tongue-in-cheek 12-year-old humor, we end on such a poignant philosophical note, and this is absolutely why I love playing with you all in the game that we're creating together. So, all right, so everyone out there in the audience, go refresh yourselves, and I'll come back. I'll give you a room number if you want to play some maybe Trivia Murder Party 2 or some other Jackbox games with us, and we'll go forward from there. So, thank you.